Ciao! Fratello told me to read the creepypasta. Alright, so I'm going to read it. It's called Ocarina of Time, The Lost Stage. I'm probably going to put the link below. Let me start off by saying The Legend of Zelda is my favorite game series of all time, and Ocarina of Time is my favorite game in the series. I own every version of Ocarina of Time, 3D, Master Quest, Virtual Console, except the N64 version. I owned the N64 version at one point, but then I sold it when the GameCube version came out, thinking it was useless. But I was feeling nostalgic, so I decided to purchase a copy on eBay. I looked for the cheapest option on eBay, and I found two games that were cheap enough, a standard edition in decent condition, and a gold cart with the sticker that someone clearly did a poor job of tearing off. So I went with the gold cart because it looked cooler and arrived in a week or so. I had played this game countless times, so I knew what everything was in and what order to do things. And so immediately after beating Jabu Jabu, I headed off to Hyrule Castle to get the Ocarina of Time and become an adult. Things happened normally. The setting became darker, the drawbridge opened, and Impa and Zelda came riding out to the castle. Zelda looked back and threw the Ocarina into the river. Then things started to become stranger. The first thing I noticed was that Ganondorf didn't come riding out to the castle after Zelda. Zelda rode away and everything just went along normally. I figured it was nothing, just some dirt in the cartridge, and dove into the river after the Ocarina. I came out and held it up in the air, and the screen read, "You found the Ocarina of Time. This instrument was sealed away by the royal family many years ago. It glows with an ominous light." I went into the Temple of Time and played the Song of Time, and the spiritual stones all lined up and the door opened. But it didn't open at its normal speed. It was much slower, and the music slowed down to a demonic rate. I thought it was just lag and picked up the Master Sword, but the light that surrounded Link wasn't its normal blue color. It was a dark blackish purple. It surrounded him, and then the screen cut to black. Then abruptly the game cut to a shot of Bowser's face. First Roru had deep black pools for eyes, no white, no pupils. There was nothing but black. He said, "You don't understand what you've done. You've awoken the eight of us. You can't save yourself. He will kill you before the end." I decided to keep playing, going against every internal instinct I had. I just had to find out what he meant. So I did everything like I would normally do it, meaning the next step was to go to the Forest Temple. The temple went along normally, but the four sprites with four ghosts were slightly changed. It's hard to explain, but they looked more human. They didn't have legs, but had faces. Horrible faces. When I walked into the temple, they looked at me for a solid minute before splitting four ways, just staring at me. Anyone who played Ocarina of Time, when you get the Phantom Ganon, you have to walk into the room and try to walk out. When I did this, the gate popped up, and Link turned around, and instead of seeing Ganon, I saw Link. Only it wasn't like he was staring into a mirror. This Link was hanging from the ceiling, smiling with those same horrible black eyes. The blue portal that appears after a boss fight was next to him, so I walked into it. Then Saria appeared with those same black eyes and no mouth. The only thing she said was, find five more and he'll kill you." Then she laughed and gave me the medallion. I carried on to the fire temple. Everything was normal until I got to the boss room. I walked in and saw Darunia's mangled body in the center of the room, those eyes and the blue portal next to him. When I walked in, I went to where Darunia normal gave you the medallion, but he wasn't dead, and the text box appeared and it said, "4 more and he'll kill you too." Next was the water temple, and at the boss room there was no boss again, but instead a room filled with dead Zoras and Ruto standing next to a portal and smiling with black eyes. I walked to the portal and Ruto said he made me do it. Find 3 more and you'll get to meet him. At the boss room of the Shadow Temple, I dropped down into the pit, onto the drum where you find Bongo Bongo, but when I hit the drum, I died. But the game over screen didn't come up, and it just stayed on my dead body until I turned the game off. When I turned it back on, it was Impa's face with black eyes, and she said 2 more. When we got to the boss room of the spirit temple, it went through the cutscene of Kume and Kotake, sending Naburu with the iron knuckle after me. But they never said a word, and they had awful black eyes. When I was done fighting Naburu, the armor fell off and she fell to the ground, dead, with the blue portal next to her. So I walked into it. She wasn't there to give me the medallion, but the text box was there and said, "One more left and you'll die." Next I went to the temple. She transformed into Zelda. The light arrows fell from the sky, but she only said one thing. "He's coming." Then she disappeared. There was a scream, and the game got to black. Then I was in the same place you meet the sages after you finish a temple, except there was someone new standing there. A person shrouded in black with a round white head, black hair, and giant black eyes. He said only one word. "Die." The game cut to black and there was a scream. And when it came back, Link's dead body in the center of the Temple of Time with no game over screen. I turned off the game, and when I turned it back on, my save file was gone, and there was a new one called Run. I thought I saw a figure out the corner of my eye, but I couldn't bring myself to look, so I did what anyone else would do. I ran. I waited for a while and finally came back in my house. And when I came back, the console was still on, and he will kill you before the end. It was written on the cartridge in red. So I slapped a new sticker on the cartridge and sold it on eBay. It's still out there somewhere, but I have no idea where. That scared me. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna save the rest of the creepypastas for Fratello. This one. Alrighty, so ciao.